What's up, Facebook Live? Nice to see you all. I'm currently waiting in a parking lot, not moving for all you who are interested. We're about to be moving though for my wife here. Hopefully you are having an amazing Sunday. I'm going to pass you over to her as she jumps in here. Today, oh hello, here she is. Today we're talking about three simple things. Number one, a 5-to-1 ratio and why it's important. Number two, how to make an impact of people around you. And number three, the legacy. Think of your long-term legacy and how that's going to affect people in life around you. In getting started, I'd love to know, before we get moving here, I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. We are in sunny San Diego. Not sure if you can see how beautiful it is out there. We're in sunny San Diego. And number two, I'd love to know, what are three things you are grateful for? We're not moving yet, so I'm going to pass you over to my wife in just a moment while I drive, and she'll be talking to you.
I'm talking?
Well, you can talk all day.
Okay. Do you want me to drive?
That might work.
Okay.
Actually, we might swap seats here so I can chat with you and she can drive while we're cruising. Let's see, I'll jump over. So as you're tuning in, I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, three things you're grateful for. Welcome to Rubio's. It's one of our favorite restaurants. Cool car. Hold on, you gotta see this. That car's awesome. And we're back. Okay. So, as you're tuning in, welcome. I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, three things you are grateful for. What are you trying to do?
I want to eat chips, but you won't like that.
I will feed you. So welcome, everyone. I see that number going up as you're tuning in right down here in the comment section. I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I'd love to know three things you're grateful for. The reason I ask that question every single time we chat is because I'd love to help. Jonathan from Chicago, welcome. I'd love to help build that muscle called the happiness advantage. There's a guy named Sean Anker. He wrote a book called The Happiness Advantage about this. He's a Harvard psychologist who went out and researched all the different factors that can cause someone to literally rewire their brain for happiness. It's not like a whole, well, everyone has their own unique blend to find happiness in their life kind of thing any longer, because Harvard researchers have found there's literal 5 things you can do, and if you're willing to do them every single day for 21 days in a row, that it'll literally rewire your brain for happiness. Do you need help? We can LA?
Yeah, I don't know where to go. I don't know.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You come out of here and you take a right, and the 5 freeways right to our right. Let's see. Sharon, Orlando, grateful for my kids, family, and friends. Exciting, rewarding career. That's awesome. Jaylene from Gainesville, Florida. Grateful for these amazing live calls with you, accountability partners, and progression. And we're back. Our feed coming in and out of San Diego might go in and out, but we'll stay on here. And if we happen to lose the feed altogether, I will jump back on. So just watch for a second session if the feed drops out at any time completely. Let's see. So, Candy Williams, St. George, Freedom, and Happy People. Awesome. Welcome. So as you continue to join us, I see that number is slightly going up. Yeah, here. So I see that number going up. Grateful for the 4th of July on Fort. Me too, Stuart, and thank you for your service, sir, and everyone who serves with you in our armed forces. I'm very, very grateful for our freedom, but I'm also grateful for your service. Delilah, Colorado Springs, grateful for my family, neighbors, and the ability to grow as a person. Sharon, grateful for a beautiful Florida. Awesome. So in getting started, my wife and I were having a conversation. You're going to the left here. Or just stay in this lane, but it'll curve left. My wife and I were having a conversation this morning, and what's fascinating is we were talking about ratios. There's an institute called the John Gottman Institute. He's a researcher, and I'm sure you've heard of the research he's done, because what he figured out was he could sit down with a couple, and within like 5 to 10 minutes of watching them interact and talking to them, he could tell you with an extremely high ratio, like 70, 80, 90% accuracy, if they were going to stay together long term or not, which is remarkable. And people are always wondering, how in the world was he able to figure out with such accuracy if someone was going to stay together long term or not, based on just sitting in a room watching them interact with each other. And here's what he figured out. Over his time of sitting in this room with people, he found out that if they have a 5 positive to every 1 negative ratio of conversation and interaction. So it's not just what they say, but it's also how they interact with each other. So do they lean in towards each other, or do they pull away from each other constantly? Do they talk about the great stuff in their life, or do they talk about the crap stuff in their life? Do they point out the good stuff about their partner, or they talk about what's wrong with their partner, or the things that bug them about their partner? So he went down this list and figured out that when there's a 5-to-1 is the magic ratio, but when there's a 5-to-1 ratio in a relationship, 5 positive to every 1 negative that's brought up, these people have a very, very, very high probability of staying together long term. So why would that matter? Well, my first question to you is, I would love to know what your personal relationship, the relationship you're going to have the longest in your entire life, is the one with yourself. And in that relationship, what I would love to know is, what's your ratio? You personally, in how you talk to yourself every day, in the amount of thoughts that go through your head, do you personally, in the relationship with yourself, have at least a 5-to-1 ratio? Meaning for every 1 negative thought, like that pisses me off, or this sucks, or I don't like that, or this is not right, or whatever the thought is, do you have at least 5 other positive thoughts that And we're back. You have at least 5 positive thoughts that compile on top of it to keep that ratio in the right, I guess, on your side for positiveness. And it's not just about being positive, but if you're going to be in a relationship with yourself, why not make it one that's going to last in a really healthy, strong, positive way? That's my thought, 2 cents there. Now, when you think about the other relationships around you, friendships, intimate relationship especially, do you also carry your 5-to-1 ratio there? And what we were talking about, it's really fascinating. We were at a wedding last night and having conversations with people as we were walking around saying hello. And one thing that was really fascinating was to listen to the And we're back. All right. Sorry about the reception right through here. I might go in and out a little bit, but I'm going to stay on for a little while here. So if I tune out, I'll be right back. Just the reception goes fuzzy right here in San Diego. So the thought is, if you listen to conversations around you, family members, friends, community, employees, team members, people around you, do you see a consistent 5-to-1 ratio? Or is it geared the other way? Do you see lots of negative and very few positive? Watch your speed. Careful. They're going to be watching. So do you see that ratio? And the thought is, going to the next piece, the impact you make on other people's lives. So this is the question. Not only in your own life, what ratio do you currently have? But the next thought to think about is, what ratio do you personally bring into other people's lives around you? Are you the person that balances out? Let's say there's someone who constantly comes up with negative shit in their life. And yeah, tough stuff happens. Everyone has stuff. And this is something my wife and I also mentioned this morning. We were talking back and forth. We're like, think of everyone we can think of, our closest friends or family, and do any of them not have like anything challenging in their life? We're like, no, all of them have something going on in their life. Think of all of our friends we know. Do they all have something in their life, whether you know about it or not? Do they have something they're challenging with, something they're struggling with, something that unexpectedly happened in their family that's like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened? Yeah, just about everybody. So I could turn you around. I'm not driving, my wife is, but I can turn you around and show you, all these awesome people out here who are driving around anyway too. I guarantee every single one of them out there has something in their life that's unexpected, that's a challenge, that's not what they wanted, that's something that they have to work through. That's life. But here's the crazy part. if I were to go talk to this person in the car next to us, or that person up there, or this person or that person, I'm curious, what ratio do they allow to exist in their casual conversation with other people? And so when you think about the impact you have on other people's lives, my question to you is, do you think it would be interesting and or necessary and or useful to another human being that when you're around them to be the positive catalyst in their life? Not because you're pretending that bad shit doesn't happen. Of course it happens. Not that you're pretending your life's freaking perfect. It's not, I guarantee it. And not that you're pretending that there's not challenges that you and them face. I get it. All of us have them. But are you going to choose to be the catalyst that every time you're there, you tend to bring out the greatness in their life? You tend to bring out the positive 5 pieces of their day that happen to make them healthier, stronger, happier, more fulfilled and more focused as a human being. And the key is, everyone has their own shit. Everyone has their own stuff. But my challenge to you in this community of people who tune in regularly, and I appreciate all of you who tune in regularly. I love sharing with you. I have a lot of fun reading your comments and communicating back and forth. So I really appreciate that you're here. And my challenge is, if you show up regularly, I'm going to challenge you, this week, make it a point that every human being you cross paths with to be someone that brings forth the greatness from within them. Be someone that brings forth the positive in their life, the good stuff, and really challenge them by how you show up, not by saying, oh, you could be more positive, couldn't you? That doesn't help. But be the catalyst. So look around and say, hey, how are you doing? And they're like, oh my God, you never believe the shit happening in my life right now. And I can tell you, just today, I mean, if I were to tell you the bad stuff happened, like my cousin had a heart attack this morning. Like, you go down the list, like all kinds of craziness happens. And family members are struggling, stuff's going tough for them. They're facing uphill battles in their business or finances or health, all kinds of stuff. My mom later December got told she might have 12 months to live. Like, all this craziness piles up. I could tell you all that, but if you looked around in my life and you were here for me, I know you support me. I know all those people out there, and it's awesome. And you could be someone who showed up in my life and goes, oh my God, wow, that's a lot. I have my shit too. But, what can we do to stay focused on the stuff that's working and help that stuff keep going? What can we do for the parts of your life that you're in control of? How can we take control of those and make them even better? And what happens is, when you can help the people around you become the healthiest, happiest, most fulfilled version of themselves, there's more of them to go give to those people who are struggling. There's more of them to go support their loved ones who aren't in a good position. And that's the whole concept behind this. It doesn't mean you don't care about the tough stuff. Of course you do. It's just, my goal is help them become the happiest, healthiest, most fulfilled version, so you have more to deliver and more to give to those places. Hope this makes sense. The final piece of today that I was going to throw out there for you all to think about is, as you're making that commitment to show up, to be that person, and to really, truly be there at the highest, strongest place you can be for them, and to really bring out the greatness from within them. The next piece is thinking about, what do you want your legacy to be? And the reason I talk about this in 3 different perspectives, one is just talking about the fact that you can literally rewire your brain for happiness if you want to. 2, talking about the fact that how you affect the people around you. And then 3, thinking about, for those of you who are concerned with legacy, your impact on the world, your mark on how life is going to remember you. How do you want to be remembered? The person who brought up all the shitty moments of life all the time? Or the person who, no matter what was going on, always found a way to bring out beauty in the world around you? No matter how many hills you were climbing that day, always found a way to spark a little bit of greatness in someone who was standing next to you. And that's my challenge. I hope in my thought of legacy, if I got ran over by a bus today, my hope and my legacy would be that I'd be remembered as someone who always brought out a little spark of greatness in somebody. And that thought process. Let's see, lots of comments coming through.
Flowers much?
I'm sorry?
Did you see all those flowers?
I did see those flowers. My wife loves the flowers in California. Dahlia said, yes, but then I think it can only happen naturally, but contributes to your nature positively. Scott, Eugene, Oregon, I'm grateful for the power of appreciation, friendship, the upcoming courses I'm seeing manifest, love and living, which is hoping Mr. Jairek featured as one of the weeks. Very cool. Allie from Dubai, welcome. Drive safe. I'm not driving, Allie. I've learned not
So
to
we
try
are
to drive and
totally
talk. We're totally safe. My beautiful wife is our driver for the day. Well, at least while I'm chatting away here, then I'll jump back over there and drive. Jane Marie, good point. Gabriel, Sunnyside, Washington, awesome. Sylvia, Sarasota, Florida, great for my new friends' life. Gorgeous weather today, being healthy. Sharon, well, pray for your mom. Oh, thanks, Sharon. She's gonna be okay. She'll get her stuff together. But you hear news like that all the time. It's crazy. You don't expect it, and I guarantee, a million other people heard something like that in their life today, and they could use that person that brings out that greatness within them. Let's see. Gabriel, grateful for the ability to work, grateful for the ability, and grateful for to be loved, and grateful for the ability to help.
See, you're that person.
Jane Marie, totally thinking of this today. What is my legacy? Women centers, volunteer, help more around me. That's beautiful, Jane. Sharon, I want my legacy to be the positive difference I make in people's lives. That's awesome. I want to help people find love and abundance. That's awesome. Elaine, bless you for these, Jairek. Good time on the topic. I'm heading back to Pennsylvania this week for a family reunion. Mom's final birthday. Aw, she's calling it. I need to show up. Hugs to both of you. Wonderful. Well, Elaine, hopefully you can be that positive and amazing catalyst for all those family members there to bring out the greatness in them and to help them shine even brighter while you're there. What were you saying, Mush?
Someone said, I think that only happens naturally.
Yeah.
So one comment on that was saying like naturally versus like they really mean it, and rather than inauthentically, or naturally like you have to be wired that way. You can't program yourself to be that way. Which I would say, I have a mom that has struggled with mental illness for much of her life, and I personally because I saw her go through it, made myself really focus on, because I saw this example or warning rather of what happens when you focus on the negative or things that aren't going right. And so but I might have been misinterpreting it. Maybe she means not inauthentically, but I was just saying it might be good to talk about someone, if they're born naturally to be positive versus don't think that you can't really program yourself. It's not going to happen overnight, but with work it will happen.
Got it. So here's what my wife was saying as she was driving here. Some people say, well, some people are naturally born more optimistic and other people are naturally born more pessimistic, and that's just the way they are.
Every toddler has terrible twos.
Every toddler has terrible twos.
But naturally wired to
I'll throw this out there and just think about this. According to Harvard research, there's literally things you can do for 21 days in a row that they found physiologically rewires your brain. It causes brand new neurological connections, new synapses to form in your brain that cause you to be geared towards happiness.
They teach that in driver's ed to your seatbelt. If you do it 20 times in a row, then you just automatically get in.
You're building a new neurosynapse. So there's a book called The Happiness Advantage. I haven't read it yet. It's by Sean Anker. I've watched a lot of his work on TED Talks and stuff like that. And this dude literally was a researcher that went and discovered, for people saying some people are born that way, it's just natural for some people. Sure it is. Totally is. So some people were born and had the happiness advantage. They were just born freaking happy, and they always look at the positive and upside. Other people, there's literally 5 things you can do every single day for 21 days in a row, and it resets your neurological wiring. This is science. It's not like a self-help thing. As much as I love self-help and personal development, sometimes it's people who are picking something out of thin air and say, doing this every day will totally make you better. The difference is, hold on one sec.
It's okay.
Mish, you got to be really careful on crossing that line, especially on today, because I guarantee there's police officers out here watching for people doing that.
Okay.
I love my wife when she drives. And my wife has
a great driver.
All of her
a clean record.
Clean record. And there's this thing called the law. And then there's these things called my wife's rules of driving. And they don't match the law sometimes. There's this awesome double yellow line on the freeway that says do not cross. And my wife says that's optional to believe in.
Back to what we're focusing on.
Yeah, she said focus on the positives, that we didn't get caught.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I have another question.
Hold on.
For you.
So here's the thought, to finish that up. 1, if you were born with it, high freaking 5. If you weren't born with it and you tend to be more pessimistic,
act like you were.
Here's the key: rewire your brain. And it's simple. Go grab the book, The Happiness Advantage. Look at the five things that in the book it tells you to do every single day for 21 days, and it'll literally rewire the neurological connections in your brain to be set towards happiness. Now, here's the crazy part. It's if you choose to. Not everyone wants to be happy all the time. Then don't be. That's freaking fine for you. We don't care. It's up to you. But here's the piece to consider. The other factor is when you're thinking about this whole concept, that the whole fake.
But you can cross this one?
Yes, there's one line. Okay, we're back. Sorry, I was having a little brief pep talk with my wife about following the freaking law. So here's the thought. There's new studies also. If you Google laughter in the brain, laughter in yoga, here's what's fun. If you want to produce more oxytocin in your body, you want to lower the you want to up the serotonin, up the oxytocin, and lower the cortisol, which is stress, but up the connection drug and up the pleasure and reward side of your brain. It's really simple. Laughter. So we've talked about this a few videos before, a few little sessions before, but if you spend 10 minutes a day belly laughing, here's the fun part. Your brain does not know the physiological difference between fake laughter, like and real laughter, like where you just go nuts and you're crying and like weird shit out of your nose because you're laughing your face off. Your brain and body doesn't know the difference. The hormones of your body will be released the same if you're fake laughing versus real authentic laugh. So another thing that can help you gear towards that happiness advantage if you really want it, is laughing your face off and finding silly things. So I always recommend, 10 minutes a day of going on YouTube and watching something that just makes you laugh your freaking face off. And that all that laughter stimulates great hormone release in your body, great emotions in your body. It's a really beautiful thing to do. Hold on one second. So Jacobson, I want to help people achieve their dreams. I'm a firm believer in everyone was created for a reason. My assignment is to help people get their legacy. That's awesome. Sharon, I believe you create your own happiness. Absolutely, people do. Delia, I meant you can't pretend, just really find the beauty in life that will come naturally. That makes sense. You can't pretend to see beauty in life. You just have to authentically look for it.
Might have been saying.
That's beautiful. I 100% believe we're born with a beautiful, not optimistic or pessimistic. Interesting. Jane, yeah, back in California, they are strict, especially 4th of July weekend. Safe travels to you, too. Oh, thank you, Jane, for reinforcing that. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you, Jane. Anyways, we're going to keep driving here. If you want to chat about any of this or you have any other questions...
I have a question.
Hold on. Somebody driving has a question.
There's someone
two hands on the wheel.
There's someone going to a family reunion.
Yeah.
And that's a great place where...
Elaine. From she came on a trip with us.
Cool. Hi, Elaine. So she's going to a family reunion.
Yeah.
And that's a great place where sometimes things come up or different personalities, whatever.
Yep.
So there, especially, it might also be tough if you're trying to be super positive and people might be kind of stuck in their ways. So what would be some great questions that people could ask other than just like, oh, cheer up or think of the positive? Like, what would be some good, not necessarily questions, but like, how do you handle someone that is negative, and like, what would be your best advice? Like, shift their focus.
Great question. In case you didn't hear, I'll repeat it for you. The thought of, let's say you get in the conversation with family, with friends.
I'm going at the speed of traffic. I was going really slow.
Really?
I was. All these people, that guy just passed me.
So much. I love it when you drive the speed limit.
I am driving the speed limit.
I appreciate it so much when you follow the law. You're amazing at it. I really do.
Oh my gosh.
So here's the piece. Let's say you have a family reunion or a conversation with a group of friends, and we're back. So 9 times out of 10, there's someone in your community, a family member, a friend, someone who, no matter what you bring up, they're always just gonna like hack it down. And that's okay. That's just their nature. That's how they're built. They're built to always, like, you'd be like, oh, it's sunny, and they're like, oh, it's too fucking hot. Oh, it's cloudy. Oh, it's cold and miserable. Like, they always just point out something bad about it that you don't necessarily love. So I don't know if you have one of those or have ever experienced one of those. My wife was asking, what do you do in those conversations? Because you can't be like, cheer up, think positive. Just what good could happen? Like, you can't just push them because they won't. So sometimes you got to realize there's different personality types. There's moving towards and there's moving away from personality types. And there's agreeing personality types. And then there's people who just do the opposite of whatever you say. And so if you notice a trend in this person, like no matter what you bring up, they always take the opposite position. So you could be like, oh, folk music is beautiful. And they're like, oh, if you like that kind of crap. And you're like, really? Like, why would you choose the opposite side? Or people shouldn't smoke cigarettes. And the person's like, why not? They should be free to do what they want. And you're like, well, you're really promoting cigarette smoking right now? What are you? And they're like, no, I'm not. I'm just saying they should have the choice, right? And if their personality, you got to listen for this. Some people are agreeers, meaning no matter what you say, they will agree with you and be like, yeah, totally, that makes sense, and they'll go along with it. Other people are challengers, or they like the opposite. So if you have someone who's in your family or community, and every time you bring up something positive, they kind of hack at the negative side, try this. It's a little trick. Try bringing up something, doesn't have to be negative, but the opposite that allows them to play the other side of it, but in a positive way, and then agree with them. So you could say something along the lines of like, oh, it's really hot today, isn't it? And all of a sudden they'd be like, well, it's not that bad. And be like, I guess you're right. Thanks for being so positive about that. And they're like, huh? And they won't catch on to it. But if you're really slick, you can literally... Sharon says, my brother is a challenger and very negative. So again, this would work perfectly, Sharon. Think of something that's not necessarily negative, but something the opposite that allows him to challenge what you're saying, but challenge it in a way that causes him to be more positive. And you literally do it, and he's always right. There you go.
Oh,
and you do it in a way that sets them up to be more positive. And then you can agree with them and be like, holy shit, you are right. So especially in that position. Elaine says, yes, with 10 siblings, I get the opportunity to try all that. This much too. There you go.
Dang.
So that's the whole thought. You get around these people, and you can literally set up the conversations on purpose. So now you're kind of orchestrating it and having a little fun. And it sets it up really beautifully, because you can come in the room, and if you know they're going to say the opposite. Let's see. Joanne says, I would usually give them a subtle compliment to break their pattern. There you go. And so you'd walk in, and instead of saying, like, isn't it beautiful? And they're like, it's not that great. Do the opposite. Be like, it's a little too hot today, don't you think? And they're like, yeah, no, it's not, though. I think it's kind of nice outside. And you're like, wow, I agree with you. How nice of you to point that out. That's awesome. Sharon says, I got it, Elaine, on the middle of 8. Wow.
Hi, Elaine.
Sharon's got the middle of 8. My teenage boy, says Jane. So there's a thought. If you're stuck in a conversation with someone who always takes the opposite, reshape the conversation by the way you enter it that causes them to naturally pick a more positive or optimistic side by you taking a different role for the moment. And then agree with them, and then cheer them on and tell them how awesome they are for freaking saying that. And what happens is, it subtly causes them to realize, hey, when you cheer them on and praise them and acknowledging them for saying something positive, it rewires their brain for a half second that goes, oh my gosh, when I say something positive, I get all this emotional reward and response. Because right now, the only reason people consistently choose the negative or the pessimistic side is they get emotionally or physically rewarded for it in some way. They either get more certainty, they get more attention, they get more connection, they get something out of it. And if you can give them even more of it by doing it a different way, it brings out a whole different side of them, and everyone has another side. Sharon says, I compliment Oscar and the Grouch next time. Yes. Good for you, Sharon. 8 of 11. That's awesome. Any other thoughts or questions? That was a really great thought. Other things that you can do to direct the conversation, purposefully ask questions that point the conversation in the direction you feel it should go. So instead of walking up and saying, hey, how are you? Walk up and say, wow, I'd love to know what's beautiful in your life right now.
What are you excited about?
What are you excited about? And they'd be like, nothing. Be like, shit, I can't remember last time I was excited about nothing. but how does it feel? But you can play with them a little bit and purposely ask questions that point the conversation. Just simple thoughts. Stormy says, great tools. Glad to hear it's useful. Well, we have lunch here.
I want to share this.
Oh, my wife's got something to share.
This is good for like when people are complaining maybe about other people's way of life. I met this lady on a plane and she had the best one-liner. She's like, if they're happy, who gives a shit? Like, what do you care? As long as they're happy, who cares? And that I thought was a really good way, because I've heard people complain about other people and it just like points them in the right direction. If they're happy, be happy for them.
Yeah.
It's not up to you to decide how to live their life.
That's true. If they're happy complaining and that's what makes them content, let them complain all day long. My thought is just don't do it around me.
It's not so, yeah, sure. But it's, you know, some people just nitpick over little things, even if it's not something bad. It could be like...
Are you nitpicking over nitpickers?
No.
Teasing you. Teasing you.
Anyway, I know
Actually,
it's not so profound.
my
I
wife's
just thought it was so simple and yet
it's true.
True.
It's true. My wife's
happy,
nickname is Optimus Prime. She's one of the Autobots.
Aww.
She's one of the super positive people where she has worked on her psychology. And she's in a way that literally, no matter what's going on around us, look at the perfect couple. Perfect, I think, is
perfect.
Far from what we're aiming for. If you look at a couple posts earlier on my Instagram,
perfect. Isn't this whole thing about how people aren't perfect?
Yeah.
Or was it not? Did you not talk about that? Maybe it's another live.
It's a different one.
Yeah, never mind. Sorry.
The thought is, there's a, Matthew, if you scroll down a few live feeds, there's a whole other thing about people being perfect. It's interesting.
But I think his comment was
Costa Rica says
sweet.
hi.
Thank you for the...
That's nice, Optimus Prime. But the thought is...
We're growing, we're learning, we're loving.
The thought is for her, what's interesting is it's something that if you ask her about it, it's purposefully done. Like, it's not something that she woke up and was like, hey, I'm fucking positive, yippee, yay for me. It's something she said, no, shit happens in your life. I don't necessarily love the way things are right now. I'm going to choose to find something that's good about it and really focus on that and allow that to be something I'm mentally, emotionally, physically connected to feel that constantly. And you know, so there were lots of struggles and lots of ups and downs in life, and she purposely trained her brain again and again and again and again and again to find that positive, to find the piece she's grateful for, to find the piece that helped her grow, find the piece that helped her become stronger, and to go work at it and push for it. And so going all the way back to the beginning, for those of you who are with us there, the whole 5-to-1 ratio, that's something you can purposefully do in your own mind, and you can do it on purpose. You can say, listen, whenever you have a negative thought that clicks in your head, instead of being like, oh shit, and going in on a tangent and stacking up a bunch of them, the other thought, and Lane says, allow it to be genuine, not forced. The whole thought would be, if a negative thought pops up, just challenge yourself to say, hey, anytime something pops up that's really, truly negative, not like, oh, this sucks, or that's just honest of how you feel. If something bad happens, it's like, oh, it sucks. But if something really negative, and it could be like a judgmental thought towards another human being, that's something really negative that you don't like in your own mindset. It could be a way you think of yourself that you're like, oh, I hate when I think like that, or I hate when that thought comes in my mind. But if a really truly negative thought, challenge yourself to replace it right then and there with 5 thoughts. Come up like, what can I replace it with? Wow, look at all those people. Oh, you gotta see this. These people are freaking cranking out there on jet skis. Never seen it that busy out there. Cool. But the thought is, when something genuinely negative pops in your head that you really just don't like, challenge yourself to be like, okay, screw it. Let's come up with 5 things positive about this that I can replace it with right now. And if you challenge yourself to do that in the moment, you'll be surprised how often and how quickly you can literally reshape your psychology. The other thing is, from the beginning we were talking about, there's a book called The Happiness Advantage. The author is a researcher in psychology at Harvard. His name's Sean Anker. He talks about 5 specific things you can do every single day to build what he refers to as the happiness advantage. It's literally, Harvard researchers found you can rewire, meaning re-physiologically wire your brain for a happiness outlook by doing 5 things every single day. This isn't, hyperbole or a good, like, oh, hopefully it works. It's literally science proven to be true at Harvard in the research. And the simple 5 things is 3 pieces of gratitude each day. just getting in simple exercise for I think 30-40 minutes at least 4 times a week. Doing a random act of kindness is something they found that it does this. Journaling. So not only capturing gratitude, but journaling something that happened, either a good thing and capturing stuff about it, or a challenge and how you feel you could get through it. What was the 5th? Oh, meditation. So meditation each day, just quick 10 minutes of meditation. We always recommend using Headspace, the app. And by doing those 5 things every single day for 21 days in a row, they found you can literally rewire your brain for a happiness advantage, is what they called it. And then they have all the benefits of being happy. So you make smarter health decisions, you make more money, like all the cool stuff. George, nice to see you. Sup, Jairek, where y'all headed? We're headed to Los Angeles to have a dinner with a couple of friends and clients. And then tomorrow we're going to hop a flight or a jet, depending on what pops up to San Francisco. And we're going to be just outside of the city for the next month and a few weeks. Daya, freedom fighter concept. Life gets real, emotions get real. Fight to overcome it with positive habits. Absolutely. So really push for those. Okay. So hopefully you all have an amazing day, and hopefully this was useful. If you know someone who really needs this, please tag them in the comments or share this with them, or click the share button and tell them why they should tune in. Here's what I'll throw out there that's going to be slightly entertaining. The person who probably needs this the most is probably going to write a comment below the video telling me why this isn't true and why they're right about this being total bullshit. So don't believe me. I'm not here to tell you I came up with this concept and think it's awesome.
I did. Just
my
kidding,
wife,
I didn't.
Optimus Prime over here, did. No, my God honest truth is, go pick up the book Happiness Advantage and read all the research this gentleman did over at Harvard and his team did, and look at the science behind it. So it's not me trying to tell you something here.
Or just do it.
Or just do it.
Quit calling bullshit
Do it
on
for-
things you don't even try.
Do it. My wife says, quit calling bullshit on stuff you don't even try. So do it for 21 days. Write down and keep a journal. It's part of it. And see what happens to your outlook on life over a 21-day period of time. See what's happening for you. Jennifer says, both of you are inspiring to me. I'm so thankful for both of you. I have just been watching for a few weeks, and my life has truly changed for the
Probably
better.
our chemistry of driving on the road
Thanks,
together.
Jennifer. Did you hear what she said?
What did she say?
I'll read it to you. Both of you are very inspiring to me. I'm thankful for both of you. I've been watching you for a few weeks, and my life has truly changed for the better.
Aww. It's all him.
It's all her, Optimus Prime over there.
Stop it.
Matthew, Headspace, the app. Yeah, Headspace works great.
love Headspace.
For someone who's an intro kind of meditator, or someone who doesn't like meditating. I have some clients who are straight business people. When I told them the thought of meditating, they're like, you gotta be shitting me. Like, come up with another option, coach. That ain't gonna work. and so I remember being challenged by them and be like, shit, okay. They're not gonna try meditating. They're not gonna try sitting down and staying quiet. Like, that's not in their DNA. They don't like that. That's not how they're built, according to them. So I found Headspace. I told them about it. They used it, and they're like, oh shit, why didn't you tell me meditation was this fucking easy? I would have done it earlier. And I started laughing. I'm like, I did tell you it was this easy. So for a beginning person who's just trying out meditation for the first time and you've never done it before, Headspace is an awesome, awesome app you can use. What?
I just can't get over all these flowers. So pretty.
She loves the flowers.
You guys show, maybe flip it.
Hold on, let me show
This
you.
is one of my favorite things about California, is that you will drive through and there's just these huge flowers in the middle of the road. No, out of it, but it's so pretty.
She loves the flowers. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this is useful. If you know someone else who could use it, click the And we're back, but I hope you all have an amazing day.
Happy 4th!
Okay, happy 4th of July. Talk to y'all later.
Freedom!